Morning. Hello. Hi. How are you? Okay, good. Looks like we're up and running everywhere. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. We are in the month of Guanyin, February, in the Mount Shasta Goddess Temple. This weekend actually is Tibetan New Year or Losar on the 11th in the US. It'll be on the 12th in Asia, but we're behind in time. So there's a lot to do in preparation for Losar. There's ceremonies and cleansings and purifications. And I'll tell you one thing that you can do that's just very simple. If you'd like to do something at home, is you can, if you have some barley flour, you can use that, or you can use regular flour if you don't have barley flour. But barley flour would be what's traditional in Tibet. You can mix barley flour with a little bit of water, or just regular flour with a little bit of water, and make a simple, very simple, small handful of dough. And then use that dough and like hold it and kind of cleanse your whole body, the whole, area around your body. Don't forget the back, don't forget your feet. And then you take that dough somewhere out and place it in nature, and usually you'd place it at a crossroads. And you place it there, and ideally, if you live in an urban environment, you could put it into a trash can on a street corner. But if you live in a more rural area, you can actually take it out into nature and put it somewhere. If you're afraid animals might eat it, you could, dig a little hole and bury it. In Tibet, they have big bonfires at various different crossroads where people bring their balls of dough and dispose of them there, but unlikely that there will be fires burning at the crossroads near your house. So feel free to try this, where you do this to remove any negativity on tomorrow night, the 10th. Today, we're working with this form of Guanyin. And today, and the other thing is you want to clean your house. So today and tomorrow, clean your house, especially sweeping, because then once the new year comes, you definitely don't want to sweep for like the next 2-3 days. It's believed that sweeping in the early part of the new year will diminish your luck. It'll sweep good luck away. So today's form of Guanyin that we're working with is Mother Guanyin, Guanyin in her mother form. And this is such a beautiful image. I'll show it to everybody. We've got her here with an utpala, the blue-purple lotus flower that only blooms once every 3,000 years. Paying great respect to all beings, Guanyin clasps her palms together and holds a long-stemmed lotus between them. The radiant light emanating from her eyes carries the compassion of the loving mother. When a mother is in touch with her child, the mighty powers of love and compassion manifest. Her eyes shine as she looks at the child, and she accompanies it patiently and calmly on its path through life. That's true. That's a good mother does that. I'm so glad that you're here today too, Tracy Ann. Thank you. When a good mother and child have a harmonious relationship, they nurture one another through their very being. She of the great gaze, the pure gaze, the gaze of encompassing wisdom, the gaze of pity, the gaze of compassion. Constantly we implore her, constantly look up in reverence. That quote is from the Lotus Sutra, chapter 25. And here's our contemplation. Whenever you feel sick or abandoned, call upon Mother Guanyin and let yourself bathe in her radiant light. Her energy of unconditional love and service, and the simple fact of her presence will help you to feel accepted, cared for, and loved once again. We all want to feel loved. Every single one of us wants that. Whether, I'm babysitting this little kitty right now. He's probably about a year old, a little less than a year old. And he is, yeah, Mary Beth says, I really resonate with this form of Guanyin. Yeah, me too, actually. Um, this little cat, he's so cute. He's so sweet. And he's also in that like kind of bratty teenager, you know, time of kittenness. He's combative and he wants to like box with the other cats and he's got a lot to prove, you know. And you know, when you're dealing with a little being like that where it's so clear, you know, we can see, you know, in this, I can see in this little kitten how, and Albert, how like he'll be there like so tough and he's boxing with the other cats and he's jumping up on the counters and then looking at us defiantly and, you know, being so like, you know, so rambunctious and naughty. But then in the same token, if I go lay down on the couch, he'll kind of get this look on his face and then he wants to come and jump on my chest and then he lays down and then he closes his eyes and he starts to purr and then he just wants to be a baby. He just wants me to pet his little face. He wants me to pet his little head. He's like, oh, now I'm the baby. And that little like teenager phase in cats, you know, that also happens in humans. We have kind of a feeling of like, human beings will be a little bit like that sometimes. They'll be like a little difficult, a little like hard to love sometimes. But then there's also this sweetness to them. And it's true in children and it's true in adults. So today, let's go out into the world and try to love like a mother, especially the people who get on our nerves. Because those exact people who are annoying us, bothering us, who we feel like a little like frustrated about, those people also wish to have love. And so let's try and exhibit that feeling of love. You know, I wouldn't say necessarily go like try to cuddle with them. I would just say, you know, try and look upon the people today who, especially the ones who are a little difficult, with that motherly love and see if it transforms the moment, the dynamic of the moment. Okay, so now let's get our divination. And today we have landed on the first roll on 86. Let's go find out. So this is the Manho Kwok translation. I'm still waiting for my Stephen Karcher book. It must have been delayed in the mail. I ordered it like a month ago, but it's taking forever to get here. But hopefully before the end of the month, we'll have it. 86. Shaken. Spring flowers shine with a paradise glow. Thousands of wagons arrive here, stacked with wealth. You find your way to the highest accolades as if on a wave. And if you're lucky, it's like a thunderclap that bumps you down. Okay, let's go find out in the Marina Lighthouse book, which the translation is by Chris Wen-Chao Lee, what they think of this verse. As springtime flowers descend upon your doorstep, admirers bring you treasures from distant lands. Whew, that's exciting. Like riding a tidal wave to the salmon run, when you leap, the whole world claps their hands. And the outlook for this one, you know how we've been getting the different outlooks every day, like some of them are like good or, you know, warning or whatever, promising. This is an outlook that says supreme outlook for this verse. Handpicked by the emperor, like a poor man stumbling across a treasure trove. This is the best of all lots. All that you wish for will come true. You rise effortlessly to the top, and you are received by the emperor, immensely auspicious. How wonderful. I'm going to read it again. At springtime, flowers descend upon your doorstep. Admirers bring you treasures from distant lands, like riding a tidal wave to the salmon run. When you leap, the whole world claps their hands. Hand-picked by the emperor, like a poor man stumbling across a treasure trove. This is the best of all lots. All that you wish for will come true. You rise effortlessly to the top and are received by the emperor. Immensely auspicious. Well, that gives me a little frisson of delight. Let's be in delight for that today. When we get such a favorable divination, there's hardly anything to say except like, go out there and do your thing. Do what makes you happy. Do what brings you joy. And don't be afraid to shine. But I think at another level, you know, we're in a time where so many of our iniquities are just laying so bare before us. Racial iniquities, iniquities of sex, iniquities of gender, iniquities of socioeconomic class and access, iniquities of geography. There are so many different ways that people are struggling today to find their way to the top. But you know, the top only exists when society is built like this. But when society is built like this, the whole circle gets to access that central pot of good luck. So let's just remember that while I love this divination and will totally accept any gifts from the emperor that the emperor wants to offer, if the emperor happens to be listening, I just also want to point out that, like, I don't live in a patriarchal society where it's like this. I don't want to live in that society. I don't want to ascend to a top. Ascending to a top implies that there's still a bottom and that someone's going to be there in order for me to be here. And I don't want that. I don't want that for any of us. That doesn't feel like true success. That just feels like replication of the same. I want this. I want this in our world. I want the center to be visible to everyone, to have something for everyone, for there to be access for all. And I want us all to feel like we can appreciate those who drink from the common watering hole with us. I want us to feel like, even if we disagree, even if we don't see things the same way, even if there's somebody who really does rub us the wrong way, that we could be like, you know what, it's okay, because there's mother love for all. There's mother love for all. The mother loves all her children. That's funny. My brain said, so I don't have to. I aspire to love like that kind of a mother. I'm good at it on some days. On some days I'm not so good at it. But let's just remember that the heap of treasure isn't here. It's here. It's at the center of this. And this is us. And we get to all access that. Everybody gets to have that. And then in that knowing that everybody gets to access that treasure trove, it becomes a wish-fulfilling jewel, never ending. So that's our short bit for today, if that's what you were here for. And let's go on with Guanyin practice for those who want to keep chugging along with me. We're going to start with 3 prostrations before the shrine. And let's take refuge. Namo Guru Be. I take refuge in the inner teacher. Namo Buddhaye. I take refuge in the great mother of compassion. Namo Dharmaye. I take refuge in the wisdom of the ages. Namo Sanghaye. I take refuge in the community of practitioners. And let's set our intention, person, place, situation, or circumstance that will benefit from today's practice. And we're still holding for Julie, whose daughter is still missing. Julie yesterday cut off all her hair and took it to the ocean to make offerings to ask for her daughter to be returned. I'm also holding in my heart, I'm sorry to say I can't remember the exact name. I read his name this morning, but over the past weekend, there was an elderly Asian man in Chinatown walking, and he was roughly pushed by a young person, 19 or 20 years old, and he died. And this is part of a tremendous wave of violence against Asian Americans, particularly the elderly, in this past year since the coronavirus came out into the world. And there are still many people who are holding racist and violent ideations toward Asian people as a result of blaming them, and the president of this country at the time falsely blaming them for this virus. And so holding for his family and their loss, and also holding for the families of the perpetrators of this crime who might be horrified at what their loved ones have done. And let's recite the four immeasurables. May I be a source of loving kindness in this world and all worlds, bringing a generous heart to all my thoughts and doings. May I be a vehicle of compassion in this world and all worlds, ever mindful and aware of the tremendous suffering of others. May I be a brimming vessel of joy in this world and all worlds, delighting in the happiness of others as their suffering is alleviated. May I be a balance point of equanimity in this world and all worlds, seeing all as equals and all as deserving of goodness. I light this candle as a symbol of the enlightening Dharma way. May it shine brightly for the benefit of all beings. I light this incense as an offering to Guanxin, she who hears the cries of the world, mother of all. Om Ahum. 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 Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum, Om Ahum. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offering, actual and virtual. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the meditation of all holy and ordinary beings. Please, Guanyin, remain until the end of samsaric existence, and turn the wheel of Dharma for sentient beings. I dedicate my own merits and those of others to the great enlightenment. 108 recitations of Namo Guanxin Pusa as we gratefully acknowledge all of the riches that Guanyin has already bestowed in our lives. All of the times she listened, all of the times we had inexplicable comfort, all the times when somebody was good enough to put aside their selfish desires or selfish motivations in order to truly reach out and help us in our hour of need. All of the times when we were bestowed amazing boons, good luck as if it fell from the heavens. And may it be so today that each of us and everyone we know and love and everyone else out in our sphere of influence receives some kind of an amazing boon. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, 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 Namo Guanxin Pusa. Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guanxin Pusa, Namo Guan Shi Yin Pu Sa. 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 And the mother of the Dharma, Yeshet Tsogyal in Tibet, said these words: wherever there is space, 5 elements pervade. Wherever the 5 elements, the homes of living beings. Wherever living beings, karma and defilements. Wherever is defilement, my compassion is also. Wherever is the need of beings, there I am to help them. To the hungry I was heaps of food and all good things, and thus I brought them joy. To the cold and freezing I was fire and sun warmth, thus their joy. To the poor and needy I was wealth and riches, thus their joy. To the naked, I was every kind of raiment, thus their joy. To the childless, I was sons and daughters, thus their joy. To those who sought a lover, I was a loving and attractive consort, and thus their joy. To those who wanted magic powers, I gave prowess in the 8 great cities, and thus I brought them joy. To the sick, I was their remedy, and thus their joy. To the anguished, I was all their mind desired, and thus I was their joy. To those hard pressed by the punishments of despots, I was the loving friend to lead them to the land of peace, and I was thus their joy. To those in fear of wild beasts, I was a haven, thus their joy. To those who fell into the depths, I was their drawing out, and thus their joy. To those tormented in the fires, I was a quenching stream, and thus their joy. To those in prey of any of the elements, I was their medicine, and thus their joy. For those who could not see, I was their eyes and brought them joy. And for those who could not walk, I was feet, and thus their joy. I was a tongue for those who could not speak, and thus I brought them joy. To those in fear of death, I granted immortality, and thus I was their joy. I led the dying on the path of transference and brought them joy. To those who wandered in the bardo state, I was their spirit guide, bringing them to joy. I cooled the burning heat and warmed the cold of those lost in the realms of hell. Howsoever they were tortured, I changed myself to shield them, being thus their joy. To those who lingered in the land of hungry ghosts, I was their food and drink, and thus their joy. I was freedom from oppression and servitude for those caught in the wordless state of beasts, and thus I brought them joy. Those beings born in places of war, I protected them from strife and brought them joy. I was a truce from endless conflict for the demigods, and I was thus their joy. The jealous gods I guarded from their bitter fall, and I was thus their joy. I shielded all from everything that tortured them, and was their every joy. That is a mother's love. To choose to be what's needed. No matter whether it makes you feel good or not. Ideally, of course, it feels good to do good. But even when it doesn't, doing the right thing is still doing the right thing. "108 recitations of Om Mani Padme Hum as we hold that mother energy for the world. Om Mani Padme Hum, 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 And let's give thanks for our teachers. May all of my blessed teachers enjoy long, happy, healthy, productive lives and great support for their good works. May all beings benefit from their wisdom. May they enjoy a swift and happy rebirth. And long life prayer for Lama Dechen Yeshe Wangmo. Om Sosti. Through the powerful blessings of the immortal Pema Jungye and his consort, may the three secret qualities of the Dakini of Supreme Bliss, Yeshe Wangmo, be utterly stable. And may the light of her activities shine on the lotus groves of the teachings and of beings, so that they blossom in radiant splendor. And let's dedicate the merit. May the merit of this practice and all of my activities be of endless benefit to all beings in all realms, beginningless and continuous. May all obstacles be overcome and suffering cease at the sound of liberation. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings have happiness and its causes. May we carry the essence of Guan Yin in our hearts. Namo Guan Yin Pusa. And we close with a bow to Guan Yin, a bow to one another, and a bow to the inner teacher. And wishing everybody a really good day, a day of triumph, a day of ascending in your goals and reaping the benefits of your hard work and being showered with gifts and praise and affirmation and love and care, and also a day of doing from your heart what's right in the world simply because it's right, whether it's the comfortable thing to do or not. Please do put your counts in the comments today so that I can count them. We had such a Mercury retrogradian past several days or past week, and I am afraid if I'm missing any of your counts. So please, please post them in the comments for me. And I hope everybody has a good one. Be back tomorrow. Bye.